Just the Tip, episode 2.7, Getting the Details and Setting the Mood. Good morning, good evening, good night, whenever and wherever you are in the world, and welcome. Now, today we're going to do that outline I promised you in the last episode. How did it go? Oh yeah, I think this idea was Angel Wars, right? So, let's take a look at the outline as we go, and then we'll continue as we go here. All right, so this is the way I do it. Other people might do it a different way, but this is how an outline typically is. And this is just word autofilling as I wrote it, so bear with me. The Dream, 1. And then Mark Smith tossed and turned while dreaming. So we have to create that character number 1. He saw angels filled with light, with swords, wearing silver armor, wings white and glowing in the light. A wave of more angels wearing black armor, almost like polymer instead of metal, their wings black. They cried out, and he did not know who was crying out. We shall follow the Lord of the morning. We shall control the world in which men must test themselves. The last thing he knew before he woke, he was strapped down. He knew he was to be the sacrifice. He did not know what he was being sacrificed for. So this is just off the top of my head. I'm trying to organize my thoughts. As I go, I'll get more detailed. I'll go back and redo it several times because I'm kind of OCD. You wouldn't think so if you looked at my desk, but my writing, I'm very OCD in how it works. So when I get trapped into an outline, I tend to go overboard and I've got to where I did sentences outlined, and I did a whole book that way once, and it drove people insane. But as we go along, after that, he wakes, sweaty and cold. He knew that this dream was about him and it was recurring. We see this by him, there being some sort of paragraph here where it's been the third time and it's recurring. We got to make this believable. And then he has to figure something out. Something's telling him something. So that's what he's trying to do here. And then, so he has to use the net. Originally, if you think where my mind went was to the library, but that wouldn't make any sense in this day and age. And he can get kind of halfway information later on, and we build that into the outline as well. Kind of have a red herring going, because you want that kind of, you want some kind of misdirection and stuff going on. So that all gets outlined too. The whole point of the outline is structure over everything else, including story. Ask Disney. They do it all the time. So he has to find somebody to speak with because he has to do some sort of research. Google wasn't going to work because you have to be too specific, and there has to be a lot of variables to winnow down necessary information to have to do with religious items of that nature. And I probably should have written that down, but here we go. As I go through and I re-outline, you'll see how detailed I get. And after I read the story, I'll show you how the outline got detailed wise on story A. Because remember, we're going to do 3 stories: story A, story B, and story C. Story A will be this one, the outline. Story B will be the free form, just idea-driven, character-driven pantser story. And then story C will be the hybrid style that I use, and I try to give tips and pointers from that point of view. So once you see all 3 of those, I'll give examples of how they were written and show you how detailed the outline gets, how much I had to cut out of freeform things, although you'll see that, and then how the balance works. Now, he has to find somebody to speak with, since the net's not going to work. Authors, he looks up books, and most of them are fiction. I'll end up putting that in there as I think about this and go. So this will have to percolate for a few days. So that's my process. When I write something, even when I outline it, because I do still write outline stories, some story ideas are necessary to do such a thing because it's more about how something is built than the end product. Just like it's about the journey, not the destination. But anyway, what I do is I do an outline, or I do the free form, or I do the guide. I write it out. I write little parts of it. I play with it, and then I let it sit for a while. Now, in Halloween, I couldn't do that. That's why a bunch of those stories are pretty mediocre. Good ideas, but weren't really fleshed out very well, because I didn't have a lot of time between stories to let them percolate, let them sit, polishing them up. As you can see, if you look at the latest story series I'm doing, the November Noir, or Noirvember, #Noirvember, it's a little bit more polished. It's a little bit more detailed. It is a period style piece set in current times, so it's kind of fun to work with. But you can see here, Professor of Demonology, and then we will have to have another character here to be kind of the mentor guide if you're going with the hero's journey, that kind of thing, which is just another level of work that you put into it. And most of the time, a lot of these layers are natural. So now that we got you started, you can see how rigid and detailed it can get just on the screen there. Others may not, have this problem, and my mind is admittedly very odd, but nonetheless, I get too rigid in structure, and story and characters suffer for it. And, story and character is the most important thing to me. But structure has its place. I'll finish up the outline and continue to write, like I said, offline, so that we can move on and work with characters in pure situation next time. As I said, that'll be story B. Once again, if you like this video and believe it held some value to you, please click that like button and share this out to any aspiring writers or novelists you know. And if you believe the stories and tips are worth it, subscribe, if you will, and encourage others to do so as well. I'm trying to get to 500 by Christmas. That would be a great Christmas present for me, from all of you. Now, thank you, and as always, remember, your life is your story. Let's make it a great one, and good night.